All right, everybody, it's Dr. Ben once again. Wanted to jump on here and just give an update on my own TMD, TMJ experience. I know it was about 5 years ago. I made the first part of this video and kind of went over all of my symptoms and whatnot that had been happening to me since 2004 when I was in dental school. And just a follow up, as things were getting worse and progressing, I had an opportunity to, either I'm going to do a neuromuscular orthotic, redo one because I had been in one for 10 years, or I was going to do disclusion time reduction therapy, which is what I'm known for. I believe in DTR so much that when it came opportunity for me to be a patient, that's the methodology that I wanted to be treated with. And so I had my mentor, Robert Kirstein, do my DTR at that time. And I had to have, I think, 3 or 4 visits, tune-ups with him. And it was interesting. My original thought was I was going to go ahead and do like weekly or monthly updates. And that just didn't happen. So I waited 5 years, obviously, to make the video, because a lot of times people, when I first started doing this and patients were reporting, oh, I feel this and this is better and I don't have that anymore, all these symptoms resolution, one of the questions that I got a lot was like, well, yeah, but how long is the relief good for? And one of the things that I kind of answer by not having the follow-ups at a shorter interval and waiting 5 years is, okay, it's been half a decade, and let me tell you all the things that have improved, right? Facial tension is gone. I no longer have the throat issue where I was having issues swallowing, concerns swallowing, even just something simple like water. It didn't have to be anything like food. But probably the biggest thing is I'm not taking Advil like candy. It was an interesting kind of revelation to me when I had a headache and I was walking into the office and I grabbed the Advil bottle and I looked at the back of it, and lo and behold, it was expired. And I had never had that happen before. Usually you buy a bottle of Advil for headaches or tension headaches or facial fatigue or whatever, and you're taking I was taking Advil after Advil, probably not that dramatic, but more than multiple times a week. And so to get to a point where I wasn't taking it at all, and then all of a sudden you go to take it because, now you're just normal and people are going to have headaches for various reasons. And you realize that the medication is expired and you have to get a new bottle. So my teeth aren't sensitive anymore. That's a big deal. It didn't really didn't prevent me from eating what I wanted to eat, but it was more of an annoyance more than anything. Some of the postural changes that I've noticed, I've always been a side sleeper, and probably about 3 years ago, I noticed that I'd wake up on my back, and that was really odd for me because that never really happened before. I always start out on my side in the morning, probably around 3 or 4. I don't even like a pillow, so I throw the pillow onto the floor, lay flat on my back, and I can get another hour or 2 worth of good sleep. And so that was different for me. And I appreciate Dr. Solly, Mike Solly, looking after me and saying, hey, did you have a sleep test? Yeah, I had a sleep test before I went to Australia a number of years ago, right before, to make sure, because I do have sleep apnea, and there had been no changes in that status. Did have mastication analysis before and after the DTR, and that's where we hook a patient up with leads on the muscles and a sensor array to track jaw motion. And the muscle bursts were more consistent with somebody who is asymptomatic, and range of motion and the jaw tracking cleaned up quite a bit. That is something that we've noticed quite a bit. And the office has published research on that, and that's available in ResearchGate. One of the other suggestions that I should have my throat scoped, and I had that done in 2004, and they didn't find anything. That was not a pleasant experience. And as it resolved, I elected not to do that. I was asked to check for hypertension, did check for that. I run about 78 over 120, 75 over 118, according to this morning. So that really was not an issue or a concern that we needed to address. Okay, so, I think sometimes professionals suffer from analysis paralysis, where we have all this information, and, Occam's razor is a principle where all things being equal, the simplest explanation is probably the correct one. And in my practice, we do measure the bite, and there's a lot of people out there that say the bite is not related to TMD symptomology, and that is 100% not true. That is a major fallacy propagated by people who are not measuring the bite, and that's sad because 94% success rate is really hard to argue with. I don't think anybody would get on social media and tout 100% success rate, because other people that have been doing this for years would call BS. Like that's just not the way. The human body is way too complex for anybody to get 100% on anything, right? A rhetorical question for all the providers out there that are going to see this is, even if somebody is asymptomatic and the bite is off, should the bite be addressed? And from my standpoint, the answer would be yes, because, how many times as a dentist has a patient come in and they're like, oh, Dr. Sutter, I broke a tooth. And the first question the dentist asks is, well, what were you eating? Or what were you doing? And the patient will say, well, I was just eating a piece of cheese. How does a piece of cheese break a tooth, right? And the reality is that tooth was probably overloaded for decades and nobody measured anything, right? That would require having some biometric like a T-scan in the mouth, measuring bite force across all the teeth. And what happened is the patient just adapts to it. They don't know any different because that's how they developed. And all of a sudden the tooth just gets tired one day and breaks. And it's not anything in particular that the patient was eating. So even though I had a history of being pretty asymptomatic with a neuromuscular orthotic, why did I choose to not make another one? In other words, TENS and shoot a bite and make another orthotic and have the DTR instead? And the big answer to that is, regardless of how perfect the orthotic is made, the overwhelming majority of patients are going to take that orthotic out to eat. And as soon as the teeth touch, that neurology is turned back on, okay? And even though they may only touch for 18 minutes or 12 minutes or however long it takes you to finish dinner, the neurology is on. And that's really, really tough to overcome. So that was the choice I made for me. It's a choice that a lot more people are traveling to our office to have this procedure done. But I thought it was worthwhile. I think I've had a number of people who have reached out and said, hey, you never really finished this video. Are you ever going to finish it? It's been a number of years now. And so that's what I wanted to do here. So, all right, guys, this is Dr. Ben signing off. And I just want to say, don't let your diagnosis become your prognosis. Be good.